Yes. Hello.
Statement of Ramana Maharishi that be still and know that you're God. Does he mean by that when you really be still, so it's like energetic transformation happens, and you are beyond body-mind state, and you become like you are in the samadhi state. That's what he means.
Is that a question or a statement?
That does it. That's what he means to say. That that's what I mean is that that this experience and this statement, does it both mean the same?
I can comment on this, but first I want to know, what is your experience?
But I'm talking about my experience that when I'm still, transformation, I can see transformation happening, and then your emptiness, your awareness, you turn into awareness. Like, but all this also is watched in a way. This both is quite
Yes. Yes. I will affirm that for you. All of this is watched. Yes. This is why I've said earlier that you can know what this process is. You can move from world to other, to you, to I as the personal, to I as the infinite or pristine awareness, to that which is aware, which is before I. So these steps can be taken. But it is also true, what you are saying, is that when stillness has become the foundation of your life, your existence, and your practice as a sadhak, all of this is observed. It can be seen as a pathway, right? From the most gross to the most subtle. So from Brahma to a blade of grass, everything is seen within this awareness itself. So this is the direct perception of what you are talking about when you say, I can see these steps, I can see this process, and I can also know that this is seen. The difference is, if you will, all of the steps are objects within this consciousness or this awareness. This is why they can be seen. That which is seeing is not an object, cannot be seen. You can definitely make the effort, right? You can use the attention of mind and practice and stability of practice to turn toward, if you will, attempt to turn toward that which is seeing. But ultimately, this comes to failure, and you can only be. You can be that which is seeing all of the steps but you cannot see that which is seeing. You can only be that which is seeing. So this is the foundation in direct experience of this quote that you say, that comes actually from the Bible, right? That Sri Ramana used to talk about. So in a way, just to go a little bit deeper for you, when you talk about is this a samadhi state, this is also the samadhi states. For those of you who are not familiar, the samadhi states are those states which you go into progressively as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, more and more concentrated into the inquiry or into other forms of meditation, often referred to as trance states. So what this is indicating is that the sense doors are closing, the mind is closing, and the awareness is remaining bright. These are the samadhi states. In the early samadhi states, there is still a subtle awareness of what is going on around. Then there is a subtle state of what is going on within the body-mind complex. And then this is also lost. But the consciousness itself, awareness itself, remains bright in this state. So to know oneself as God is to know this, that there is only this being, this seeing, which is happening at all times. And that this is the foundation, this awareness, this consciousness is the foundation for all of the other manifested experiences. This is the same as to say that you are knowing oneself to be God. To see that it is this consciousness, this awareness, which has no relation to the personal I, that this awareness is the foundation for all of life, for everything which is rising. That without this awareness and this consciousness, nothing in this life, in body, mind, or world, can be known. Nothing becomes manifest without this. This we know simply from our own experience in deep sleep. We don't have to be a yoni to realize this. We simply need to look at our own experience in the waking dream and deep sleep state and know that awareness remains even in deep sleep when there is no awareness of body, of mind, or of world. Nonetheless, when awareness moves back into the body again, through the I, through the heart, it is known right away, I am here. This is its awakening statement. I am here. That which is aware is here, in this body-mind, and is manifesting as this. Sahaj Samadhi, however, is the final step. This is not the samadhi states which are shutting out all of the recognitions of body, mind, and world. This is the recognition firmly, without doubt. I am here. I am that which is aware. That which is aware is here now. This place, this recognition, fills all the spaces, has no need to avoid anything, and no need to grab at anything. This is Sahaj. Sahaja says, I am here. This is enough. Nothing else. No states. Senses can be open or closed. Waking, dreaming, sleeping. World is manifesting. Nothing is manifesting. I am here. This is Sahaja.
What I recognize, one more thing, is that while this movement from lower energies to the highest, that's what I was witnessing, that the energies are moving and then it's just vastness. And I'm already watching that. That lower energies, my attention was quite virile, but as it came in the highest, in the awareness, the attention was completely submerged. So the main transformation I saw was with the attention. That attention got still in the awareness, and it's
Yes.
just undisturbed.
Yes.
Even the movement going on, something, but attention is just resting. That
Yes.
makes the whole difference of, because even the I am state, I don't, but it's like some stages, like it's more like on a physical way that when I'm in heart and I'm here, it's like more stillness, but still there's a wavering of attention. But when here, attention is like submerged in, it's like undisturbed by any movement. You are just this. So
Yes.
whatever I'm saying, does it?
Yes, and the next question for you though is the original question. What is aware of this movement from here to here to here, and this perception that there are levels? Because sahaja does not perceive these levels. So this is one of the ways that there can be the removal of doubt can happen. Is that in sahaja, it's recognized very clearly that these levels, as they are perceived by the body-mind experience, are related to the body-mind experience. They are not related to the Supreme. One of the ways that you can perceive or conceive of this is to simply ask yourself, what remains after death? Because of the physical body, because the perception of levels, of experiences of levels, of this up and down movement and motion, stillness or not stillness, is all happening dependent upon the recognition that there is a body and a mind within which this experience is happening. So if you want to go to the next place of sahaja, you must be willing to challenge all of these experiences, no matter how high or how low, with this question: what is aware? Who is this I which is having this experience? No matter whether it's a low vibration experience or a high vibration experience.
Rishi Ji?
Just a second.
Kamal is still.
Sorry.
1 second. Yeah.
Yes.
Kamal.
Please. Yes. Actually, I am very much aware. This is what I recognize, that this is quite a movement. Lower to upper. It's like it's more a subtle movement. So this is seen. At the end of the day, what happened, that just movement took place, and when it's like here, it's like, okay, I'm already watching this. This feels good. It's less effort to the body. Body is also now calmer. Body
Yes.
and mind is also calm now.
Mhm.
So on the body mind level, is calmer now. Yes, this is to be. Yes, this is good, but this is watched. That yes. Which I did not assume to hear this from you. Like, while saying this to you, I said both, which I never thought. Like, oh, while talking to you, it just
Yes.
told you. So it's not that I would. Actually, what I am seeing is that whenever and wherever, whichever situation or whatever is going on, I'm always actually aware, very aware, without even a question.
Yes.
But
But
that some movements or some moments, there's so much of I would call it fear the energy is so strong that I cannot deny I'm aware. There is no other way. But body
Yes.
is in like
Yes.
not really in synchronicity, in harmony. Like when you are, as I would say that when the energy is here, it's like calm, peaceful. Really, attention is submerged. That is a experience where you are just harmony, complete harmony of body, mind, and but here when the body mind is not in harmony and it's like trembling and in fear, what in that state also I am completely aware, and that awareness remains in all the changes which
Yes.
I assume, and I'm sleeping, I'm getting I'm sleeping, I'm getting up, I'm eating. I'm just like I'm always aware that this is happening, and sometimes it becomes very strong, and I'm just like yes, but I'm always aware. Like there is this constant. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, and you just keep going. The way to keep going is to use this question. You can notice I am this fear is here. You can feel this in the body, right? So now you are using fear as an anchor for awareness. So this is beautiful. Continue in this way. But don't make the fear more than anything than an anchor for the awareness in that moment. In other words, don't make a big story about it. This is fear, and there is awareness of fear. Now turn toward the awareness. Just keep turning toward the awareness. The fear will keep pulling you back out. That's a conditioned response. We don't know where this is coming from. We're not saying, oh, this and that happened to you when you were younger and it put this fear in your body. And no, we're not doing that whole story. We're not saying this fear came from the last lifetime. It came from 10 lifetimes ago. We're not doing that story. We're simply saying this is fear. And in this moment, there is awareness of fear. So now you are using fear in order to look to awareness, if you will. But as I said, awareness is not an object. So ultimately, by doing this process over and over and over, which is the same as asking the question, what is aware or who am I? By doing this process over and over and over, using what is available here now, which in this example is fear, by using this occurrence, this experience, to look at what is aware, not looking at the fear itself, but acknowledging it, saying this is fear, and looking at what is aware of the fear, noticing that there is a bigger, more expansive vastness in which this fear is rising. By doing this, we subtly come to know, slowly, 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 that the fear is what is not real, and it is the awareness itself which is real. And then this is what is called awakening. When we come to realize that we can go through whatever we go through, body, mind, emotion, world, whatever is here is just another movement of some sort. And this is when it's said that this sense of low energy or high energy no longer makes any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. There's only awareness, and in this awareness there is this object, that object, another object, and that is moving and changing, or not. It's just still. But what is here, under all circumstances, under all conditions, is awareness itself.
This brings one more question when you say this, because when you say this, I remember that there are some moments when this fear is arising, but it doesn't touch me. Sometimes it is not just there and I'm untouched by it. It's like yesterday, I would say that just that whole day was like this, that things were arising and fear was also there. Thoughts were also there, continuous. And there were flow of thoughts, but it just did not touch me at all.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
I was as if I did not, as if I do not exist in any way. I'm just awareness, pure
Yes.
awareness.
Beautiful. Very good. Yes, continue. This is the fruit of practice.
So this is what I experienced like yesterday, what really happened, that just I'm moving as this. So it just happens by itself. There's no, in that I have no control over, and sometimes there's a lot of effort. But what happened yesterday was there was no effort and I'm just like this. But sometimes, other times I see that there's a lot of effort. When fear comes, I have to stop also sometimes, sit down and be conscious of it, because otherwise it pulls me, or I'm, so.
Yes, but this is why I was saying earlier to Atmavidya, this is why it is so important to stay here now and not to be reflecting back into how it was before. Because what happened yesterday was the fruit of the practice of having gone through all of that before and developed some stability around it. And so now it becomes possible on the next day that it arises to remain as the still presence while all of this turmoil goes on. So this is a fruit of practice. So in order to not reinforce, if you will, the prior experience, you can acknowledge it. Oh, this was how it was before, but yesterday was different. This is the way to acknowledge it. Ah, I see. Okay, so now the practice is growing. The fruit of the practice is here. The stability is here. And I will, if you're going to anticipate something in the future, anticipate that this will be your experience in the future, not the experience you had before of being mentally and emotionally and so on pulled back into the fear, but rather that if this should rise again, then it will arise in a way in which you realize that you are the vastness of the self, of being, consciousness and bliss, and this fear is rising in that. And I promise you that what happens is that the emotion, the unsettled energy around that kind of fear begins to dampen itself down, close down very quickly. And the amount of time that even you are willing to give any attention to the sensations of fear and upset in the body that are happening, that will also go away. You simply won't be able to keep your attention on it. The reason is you have come and shown yourself that it is not real, that it is a passing phenomenon. You are that which is aware. That is what is real. And the more you come back to that, the more you gain mastery, mastery over these fluctuating states of mind. Very good.
One last thing, please.
Of course.
That the first question which I started with, that the stillness, that when I am still, this process goes on. So is like when, as I was saying, that when a lot of energies are there, or like this, then there is a feeling to just sit still for a moment, and then everything comes down, and then just like zero. So that's the way to just that's good.
Yes, good. Good. And do understand, I would just make sure it's clear to everyone that the experience that you have at that point is not zero, that you are zero. The experience you have at that moment is nothing ever happened. This is the true experience. Nothing ever happened. This seemed to have happened, but when I am at base, when there is this recognition that there is a consciousness itself, being and consciousness, that the experience is not one of zero, or annihilation. The experience is one of fullness, of wholeness. And I am that. Okay, your turn.
Rishi Ji, will you clarify the word vastness that you spoke?
The word vastness.
Yes.
So what's being pointed to here, Sarlama, is that there is a body-mind sensation or experience in the recognition of the self, which is that all of this, meaning life, experience, relationships, mind and body, are all rising within the same, or are all existing, if you will, rather than rising, are all existing within the same recognition. And that recognition is Satchitananda. And this is the fullness or the wholeness of life. And this is often referred to by people as a vastness, just because by comparison to the personal me often feels small and restricted, confined to body and mind. But the self is clearly transcendent of all of that, and the body-mind experience is rising in the self. And there's not really a word for that. So we say things like vastness.
Vastness and infinite are the same thing? Same?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Infinite, eternal, vast, whole, one. All of these are the same.
I was always confused on infinite. Just one. Peace is there. Total silence is there. And this peace and silence is also perceived. And perceiver and silence become one. Can't differentiate between both of them.
Yes.
Is it awareness? This is awareness and self are the same?
Well, I use the word awareness because it is one that people can usually readily relate to. If I ask the question, are you aware? Yes. So people can say right away, usually, yes, I am aware. They know this. We know this deep in our being. I am aware. But this is really the supreme in some way, yes? This knowing, we cannot really label it in any way except this recognition of our own experience of knowing.
Rishi, there is habit, though it is very clear, but there is habit of going to person again and again.
Can you say that again, please? I think I missed a couple of words there.
There is habit to identify with the person again and again. How
Yes.
to break this habit, though it's clear to me. I am the self-awareness, but there is habit of how to break habit.
Yes, Scripture and Sri Bhagavan have said that even for the jnani, this recognition that this experience, if you will, of I as the body will continue to arise to a lesser degree, but even can arise for long, long periods of time, even in the experience of one who is realized. So the instruction is very simple. Every time you realize that there is a movement within consciousness, which is relating to this me as the body, then we once again inquire, who am I referring to when I say I? Now, this does not necessarily refer to the idea of I in the mind, but rather to the felt perception that the body and the mind represent me. I am this body and mind. That as soon as any kind of subtle or not subtle experience arises, we question this perception, I. This is the foundation of the inquiry. So we can have, for a very long period of time, the exact perception, you describe it very well, the exact perception that I am the self. And you can know this very clearly. And yet still something can come up. I like to use this example. If you walk past a chair or a table, and you hit your toe on that chair or that table, very quickly, I am the body. Oh my gosh, it hurts, you're jumping around all over. So this is a good indicator that for some time after the recognition of the self rises, there can still be these moments emotionally, physically, that this strong sense of I as the body returns. This is just, as Kamal said, this is just habitual way of thinking of oneself. So just quickly challenge it. Who am I referring to?
Then frustration comes. Then
Yes, you see, so this is, so it doesn't make any difference whether you catch it right away, oh, who am I? Or you realize, oh, I arose, and now there's this great frustration. The question then is a little bit more complex because it's a little bit further down the chain. You can say, to whom does this thought occur? This frustration. Who is experiencing this frustration? I am. Who am I? So for each step in the chain from awareness, the self, into I as the absolute, into I as the personal, into you, into they, into world. For each step, we can modify, if you will, we can adjust the inquiry question a little bit because we're a little bit further down the chain. So now we need to say, to whom does this thought occur? To whom does this experience arise? To whom is this frustration coming? It is coming to me. So we acknowledge that there is still this sense of me here now. But then we immediately ask, who is this me? Who am I? What is aware here? So then we quickly move back up the chain and come back into being consciousness.
So it will take time not to revert to again and again the person. It takes time.
Yes, this is why it's called practice, right? Because we have to do this each time that this sense of I-ness or I am the body arises. We do this each time. But as I was saying before to Kamal, over time, we become more and more stable in this realization that I am the self, and this becomes a very natural thing. This is why it's called sahaja, the natural state, because it becomes our natural way of being in the world. And then it doesn't require so much effort. It doesn't require that we do the inquiry constantly. Whereas if we're in a state of fear or in a state of upset or anger or frustration of some sort, then we need to meet that energy. If we can't break it right away, we have to meet that energy with the inquiry. And this helps to draw the energy away from the frustration and put it back on that which is aware of the frustration. Because as was stated earlier, we know two things. Frustration is present and I am aware of it. Those are the two things we know at that moment. Fear is present, and I am aware of it. We know both those things simultaneously. That is because the fear or the frustration is arising in the awareness itself. This is how we know that. So we just keep coming back. We do it over and over. And Annamalai Swami was there's a good story about him, where he was saying, well, I was having trouble with this thought. I think it was some thought he was having in the ashram one day. Some very beautiful woman came in and he saw her. And for the next day, he was just troubled all the time by these thoughts of family life and, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be her husband? And lust was coming up and all of this was happening. And Bhagavan, of course, before, he had been with Bhagavan for many years, had told people, if you have to, make it more complicated. This is what I mean by moving down the chain. And Bhagavan would say, well, if something is coming up all the time, just count the number of times that you have to ask the question, to whom is this arising? Who am I? Count the number of times, right? This gives the mind something else to focus on, to concentrate on. So Annamalai Swami came in the next day and said, Bhagavan, he told his story about what had happened. And he said, and I counted throughout the day how many times I had to come back and say, who am I? And he said, I was shocked. Yesterday I had to count 700 times. I had to say, who am I? Who am I? Because this difficulty, this challenge kept arising. And I kept having to say, who am I? 700 times. Bhagavan looked at him and said, and where is this story now? He said, oh no, it's gone. That was yesterday. Bhagavan's comment was, very good. And then he was silent. So just indicating to all of us that we do this practice in a way that is happening in the here now, but we don't hang on to it. What you experience as frustration is actually the clinging to the experience and saying that something is wrong with it or it's a problem. Bhagavan showed us through this example that we do this inquiry not to prove to ourselves that we are not enlightened or not to prove to ourselves that we are not the self. We do this experience to help us in the here now. And once the experience is gone, we drop it, right?
Thank you, Rishi Ji. Thank you.
Yes. Happy to see you. Thank you for your question.